starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
Good evening, I'm Nathan Finster.
And I'm Kathleen Surrey. We'll get to those top stories in just a moment, but first the headlines with Crystal Schoenbauer.
The underdogs had their day in Wisconsin. Democrats went with the candidate who excited them the most, and Republicans chose the candidate who wasn't Donald Trump. A majority of Wisconsin Republican voters say they're either concerned or scared of a potential Trump presidency in exit polls. On the Democratic side, voters chose Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who they saw as the more exciting, inspiring, and honest candidate, according to early results of exit polls conducted for the Associated Press. And now to weather. A wind advisory just expired moments ago. It's expected to calm down this evening. Earlier today, wind gusts as high as 45 miles per hour were felt in Vermilion. Tonight, there's a 30% chance of showers. It'll be windy through the weekend.
Thanks, Crystal. It's no secret that college tuition is pricey, but have you ever thought about how much money you actually spend on an academic major alone? Coyote News' Kenzie Wagner spoke with students and faculty to find the answer.
Books, electronics, and meal plans. These are just a few of the costs a college student deals with during their 4 years of school. But what about the cost of an undergraduate major? Where do the dollars go?
I would assume that a lot of it goes towards more like the lab and like the resources and equipment that we have to use for the different experiments and the resources they have for the classes.
Dr. Jim Moran says that some of the money goes toward major consumables, items that students pay for themselves.
An art department, for example, or a chemistry department in the labs, they have students are using material and it's kind of consumed, and some of that expense is kind of paid for by the students who are taking those courses.
For some students, the consumables of their majors don't always pay off.
I haven't seen a lot of rewards or benefits coming from the cost I'm paying. I think a lot of them just go in and we don't really see a lot of that coming out. Our labs aren't always great, and a lot of
Moran says that cost shouldn't be the only factor that comes into play when deciding a major.
I think it may be short-sighted, in fact, for a student to say, well, I'm going to choose this major because it's a little more expensive than others.
For one student, it's about doing what he loves that matters the most.
Based on I just chose what I wanted to do and what I'd be happy with for the rest of my life, and the cost right up front didn't really play a huge factor in determining what my major was going to be and what it wasn't going to be.
For Coyote News, I'm Kenzie Wagner.
The Board of Regents approved a tuition freeze at state colleges for next year.
The Regents also approved a new deal for students from the Hawkeye State. New Iowa students will now receive in-state tuition at USD and 3 other public colleges in South Dakota. Coyote News' Sophie Heineman is live in the muck with the university's Vice President for Marketing and Enrollment, Scott Polson. Sophie?
Iowa students now have another reason to choose USD due to the South Dakota Board of Regents' decision on Friday. Scott, what went into the decision to add Iowa to the list that the list of schools South Dakota offers for reciprocity?
Yeah, we were looking at those schools in areas in which we had the biggest impact, and we were really looking at affordability from that standpoint. And so Iowa was one of those major places where the proximity and just the amount of students that we get was one of the primary areas.
So Iowa is sharing a border with South Dakota. How does this change affect both South Dakota and Iowa colleges?
Well, it puts us all on the same page in terms of price is what the goal was. So from an affordability standpoint, our goal is to make sure that if a student wishes to come to USD, the price isn't what's hindering them to come here.
USD noticed a decrease of almost 5% in first-year freshmen. Do you believe that offering reciprocity to Iowa students will affect that number, and why?
Absolutely. The price difference between what a student from Iowa would have paid last year compared to this year will be around $3,100, and we felt that that decrease was actually part of the reason was price. And so we hope, we don't know for sure, but we hope that that's what's going to make that turnaround.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us. South Dakota already offers reciprocity for Minnesota. Live in the muck, I'm Sophie Heineman.
Thanks, Sophie. Coming up after the break, Coyote News spoke with Senator Mike Rounds about his thoughts on President Obama's Supreme Court nominee. We'll share the answer coming up.
This is Coyote News.
Fostering is when you take in an animal into your home and you take care of them until we can find them a permanent forever home.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, it's rewarding.
We do all the vetting, the neutering, the spaying, the medications.
The Humane Society has lots and lots of great dogs and cats that can pull at your heartstrings and make you realize you got a little more to give.
The Coyote Twin Theaters in downtown Vermilion, providing entertainment Tuesdays through Sundays. A proud supporter of USD student media.
This is Coyote News.
South Dakota U.S. Senator Mike Rounds might be a busy politician, but he's not too busy to visit with his constituents. Rounds stopped by the Muck Pit Lounge last Thursday talking to students about political issues ranging from student loans to the national debt. Rounds says college students are vital to the political process and an inspiration to politicians.
They saw things when their mom and dad were here, and now it's their opportunity to be involved, and they feel like they can really make changes. And you know, that kind of enthusiasm is important, and that helps to build enthusiasm and keeps the rest of us fired up as well.
One issue Rounds talked about was potentially meeting with President Obama's Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland, something other Republicans have refused to do.
I know that they made contact with us just in the last day or so, from what I understand, and I've told my staff that if we can put together a meeting time, I'll be happy to meet with with Mr. Garland, Chief Garland, and be happy to, as a courtesy, to make contact with him. I think that's appropriate to do.
About 20 students attended Thursday's event hosted by the College Republicans. The USD Marching Band will not only be performing in Vermilion next year, but across the pond as well. Dylan Huggins has the story.
The USD Marching Band has been awarded the opportunity to perform in London on January 1st, 2017 at their festival parade.
Dr. Jonathan Olvis, Director of Athletic Bands, says that any band wishing to participate at the London parade has to be invited through an invitation.
An invitation-only event. You can't just call them up and say, we'd like to participate and go. So it's based on recommendations. This will be the second time we've participated in the parade.
The London trip will feature members of the marching band, alumni of the marching band, and members of the concert band as well.
It's also a chance to kind of go out and share music around the world, which most people don't get to do. They kind of stick close to home, and so having this experience, especially for a school this size, is fantastic and phenomenal.
For Coyote News, I'm Dylan Huggins.
Parking around USD can be quite the hassle for students and faculty. Coyote News' Brandon Promeny has more.
Parking permits cost $138 a year, $69 a semester, and $34 for the summer. And students feel that there are not enough spaces to park around campus.
University of South Dakota students voiced their concerns for the cost of parking passes and the amount of lots available.
I think that a parking pass should definitely be an option. I think the meter parking's definitely, there's not enough meter parking, so you can't just use quarters. And basically for people who do own passes, who do pay like $200 for it, aren't finding spots because you see people driving around all the time. So,
Facilities Management Director of Planning Catherine Wagner states that there are plans to improve lots in the future.
Well, we do have our master plan has been developed where we looked at how do we plan for parking in the future, in particular because we want to maintain what we call a walking campus is what we have here now. That's why we don't have a lot of parking lots in the center. So we do have some plans, particularly to expand lots 4 and 5, which are the lots east of Delzell. We look at making some improvements and expansion over there. Otherwise, we will look at the lots as the different buildings and stuff grow, where does our needs more prevalent.
For Coyote News, I'm Brandon Promeny.
Tonight, Coyote News was asked to participate in a special Facebook event. Before the show, we gave viewers a behind-the-scenes tour of our studios in the Al Newharth Media Center. It's all a part of Facebook's 24-hour event to launch Facebook Live. Coyote News was proud to join in on the celebration, and you can watch a replay on our Facebook page right now.
last day of finals, and just ahead on Coyote News, we show you where to start looking for the summer job. Coyote News returns in about a minute.
This is Coyote News. This is Coyote News.
We are expecting to see more female participation this year in Tau Kappa Epsilon's annual Teak Fight Night tomorrow night. While boxing may be known as a male-dominated sport, freshman Michaela Goldamer is excited for the competition.
Having something that is usually male-dominated and having a whole bunch of girls coming in is just super awesome, in general. And the fact that we're okay with being in the ring and having people see us like that, I think that's super funny and awesome.
Competitor Gretchen Biersbach is surprised by the number of women who signed up.
I didn't think this many girls were going to show up, and at first it was really intimidating walking in because there weren't many girls, and now there's I think 6 other girls that come in pretty regularly, and it seems normal now, and I really like that.
The event will be held at Vermilion High School tomorrow night at 7. All proceeds will go to St. Jude's Children's Research.
The school year is almost over, and now Coyote News' Ethan Netz is going to tell you how you might be able to land that summer job.
With summer just around the corner, students are looking for jobs. With many job opportunities available, Senior Joey Schneider talks about some of the perks you get with an on-campus position.
When it's not during business hours, you can work on your homework, so you get paid to do your homework. And if you don't have any homework, you can just kind of hang out and do whatever. So it's an easy job, you get paid for it.
Employer Relations Advisor Cassandra Gerard tells us where you can find job listings.
Well, as of right now, our office has an online job site, Coyote Careers, where employers contact me, and that's where I post all the internships and part-time positions for students.
The Career Services Weekly newsletter can be provided to students by emailing Cassandra Gerard at cassandra.gerard@usd.edu. And for Coyote News, I'm Ethan Netz.
On this week's Coyote blog, Andy Hartman explains why she's going to be looking for loose change to prepare for the summer.
Summer is fast approaching, and you know what that means. It's movie season. Hollywood likes to release a ton of movies in the summer because they know that a lot of kids would rather spend their summer in a dark movie theater than outside in the sunshine, because kids just keep getting lazier and lazier, and going outside means exercise. So there's a huge list of great movies set to be released this summer, and I've counted at least 12 movies being released over the next few months that I want to see. There are so many that I can't even show you a picture of the movie posters over my shoulder here because we don't have time. There's Captain America, X-Men, Suicide Squad, Finding Dory, the new Star Trek movie, the new Independence Day, and several other movies that I don't have time to name. The worst part is that movies cost money. Even with my student discount, it's still $6 here in Vermilion, and that's just for a ticket. If you want popcorn and a drink, you'll have to pay roughly the same amount as a semester's worth of tuition to cover the cost of that deliciousness. I don't have the money for all of these movies. In a way, that's a good problem to have because movies are great, but sometimes I need to save money for things like, food. So I think I'm going to start looking in storm drains for loose change. For Coyote Blog, I'm Andy Hartman.
Coyote Sports, the women's basketball team makes history when we return.
This is Coyote News.
Climbing's awesome because it's challenging, both mentally and physically.
You gotta love climbing because even when you're not climbing, you get a great view.
Climbing's great because I feel like Spider-Man.
Climbing is great. Even my nerd friends can do it.
climbing's awesome because there's always someone who has your back.
Come to the rock wall and figure out why climbing's awesome for you.
Clotique is proud to support programming on Coyote News. Located on Cottage Avenue, 1 block north of Cherry Street, Clotique offers women's apparel, footwear, and accessories.
This is Coyote News.
Tonight on Coyote Sports, the USD women's basketball team makes history. Plus, Coyote News' Heath Nimke speaks with a member of the softball team about their season. I'm Kayla Dorhout.
And I'm Levi Goots. The newest construction update for the new basketball arena has been released, and in Cassidy's Corner, she shares with us her thoughts on Saturday's basketball game. First, the headlines. Crystal?
A group of New England Patriot fans have sued the NFL in an effort to recover the first-round draft pick that was taken from the team as punishment for the Deflategate scandal. The fans say the league and Commissioner Roger Goodell relied on false premises, biased investigations, and untrue facts to reach their decision to take away the team's draft pick this month. The University of Connecticut women became the first program in women's basketball history to win 4 straight national championships. The UConn women finished the season with a perfect 38-0 record and extended its winning streak to 75 games. And those are your headlines.
On Saturday, the USD women's basketball team made history as it defeated Florida Gulf Coast to win the WNIT championship. A sold-out crowd of 7,415 watched as USD became the first Summit League team, men's or women's, in any sport to win a national tournament. Nicole Seekamp was named the WNIT Most Valuable Player, and fellow senior Taya He-Miller was also named to the all-tournament team. On Monday, the team held a victory rally in the Muck to celebrate their accomplishment and thank fans and the university for their support.
And to all of our fans, what can I say? I just never knew that it was possible to have over 7,400 people in the dome to support this team, and just the way you guys have come out for us has just been incredible. I'm getting all emotional.
The women finished the season with a 32-6 record, and for the first time in program history, end their season on a win. With the recent success of Coyote women's basketball and the Nebraska head coaching position opening up yesterday, there's speculation that current Coyotes coach Amy Williams may be in consideration for the job. The Lincoln Star says Williams, being a former basketball player at Nebraska, makes her an ideal candidate for the position, but that's only based on speculation. There's no confirmation that Williams is even being considered for the job.
Now that the basketball season is over and the final game has been played in the Dakota Dome, USD has released its most recent arena construction update. They've reached the final stages in the construction. The carpet and tile floors have been installed and the lockers have been finished. Next on the agenda is putting in the main basketball floor as well as the practice court. They're also putting in the weight room floor. This final stage is expected to last until May and consists of final touch-ups to the building. The USD softball team's games against Creighton today have been postponed. Coyote News' Heath Nimke is with a member of the team to talk about how their season is going. Heath?
Thanks, Levi. The softball season has been underway for a couple of months now, but the Summit League Pro season is just kicking on. I'm joined here with Madison Frank to talk a little bit of softball. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
How has been the constant travel been on you and the rest of the team?
It's really difficult to go for 2 months straight of traveling to Vegas and California and Florida, but we're really good at keeping on everything and working together so that all our classwork gets done.
How frustrating has it been getting games postponed with all this nasty weather?
It's not too bad. We play so many games during the year that postpones doesn't really bother us too much, but we're always happy to play and always happy to get the opportunities that are on the field.
The season didn't start off hot, but how do you plan on turning things around in the Summit League action?
Our first part of the season was kind of rough, but we played some of the best people in the nation, so it was really helpful to see like what we were capable of and what we have. And now that Summit League has started, we have great opportunities to show everybody what we can do.
How did it feel beating Western Illinois the other day?
It was great. Happy to get some wins on our field and be back in Vermillion.
The softball season kicks off again this weekend as they play at IUPI 3 times this week. For Coyote News, I'm Heath Nimke.
Thanks, Heath. USD hasn't had a varsity baseball team since 2003, but the school still offers a club baseball team. Collins Chaloup says the club is for people who are interested in playing the sport competitively.
Hi, I'm Collins Chaloup, Coyote News. I'm here at Prentice Park today, home of the club baseball team for USD. The baseball team is made up of 18 different players, including one that is the head coach / president.
For a set of jerseys, it costs about $3,000 to get to supply for the whole team, but we're able to get a discount on that. That brings it down to around $2,000 for a full set of jerseys that we can use, usually for a few years or so.
Club baseball team also thanks Elk Point Jefferson High School for letting them use their baseball field this weekend while their Prentice Park facility is being redone. USD ended up dropping both games Saturday night against Iowa State's club baseball team and is 1-2 in conference games and 1-3 overall on the year.
The most rewarding part is being part of the team, being able to play sports outside of high school again. It's pretty competitive, so.
USD will be back in action with a doubleheader Wednesday night when they face SDSU's club baseball team. First game is set to begin at 5 p.m. I'm Collins Chaloup here at Coyote News.
2 USD golfers finished in the top 10 at their most recent tournaments. For the women, junior Brenna Lervik finished 7 over par, good enough for 3rd place at the Kansas City Shootout, which concluded yesterday. Lervik's 3rd place finish was her 3rd consecutive top 3 finish. For the men, senior Jordan Rickall tied for 10th at Arkansas State Intercollegiate, which also concluded yesterday. Both men and women have one more tournament before the Summit League Championships. And in Cassidy's Corner this week, she tells us about her experience at Saturday's WNIT Championship.
Whether it's the final game of a tournament or the last game of the season, nothing will compare to the feeling of a championship game. Everybody gets that excited but nervous energy come the morning of the championship game. You could be the one playing in it or just another fan cheering the team on. No matter your role, you're still a part of something special. A championship game brings a community together. Over 7,000 people attended the championship game for the WNIT in the Dakota Dome on Saturday. It was an incredible experience to watch people file in as it was the 6th last basketball game in the dome. There was a sense of belonging felt throughout the entire student section. Every child, student, and adult was there to cheer on their yotes with the hopes of a big win. The crowd cheered and the towels spun with every shot that our women's team made. With the final minute on the clock, the fans were able to breathe a sigh of relief as we knew that our women had the win. The clock turned to 0 and the final buzzer went as the students stormed the court in excitement. In that moment, I had never been so proud to be a Coyote. The women may not have gotten the at-large tournament bid they were hoping for, but I think a WNIT championship is an even better consolation prize. A championship game isn't just another game in the season. It's much bigger than that. It's the hard work from all the practices and sacrifices made throughout the season. It's the team's moment to shine. Athletic events like a championship game create an identity for the students and community members. It's ultimately a game you'll never forget. And that's Cassidy's Corner.
Thanks, Cassidy. Coming up next, we see how the Coyotes' #1 fan prepares for basketball games. We'll be right back.
This is Coyote News.
USD's Media and Journalism Department can be seen and heard all over campus. Faculty members know that hands-on experience now is the key to success after college. Get professional experience by participating in one of the many practicums offered. Have your voice heard on the radio. Edit a promo for a campus organization. Investigate breaking news stories for a weekly newspaper. Design advertisements for local businesses. Get involved with the Media and Journalism Department at USD and start your future now.
Fast Auto Glass is proud to support programming on Coyote News.
located at 222 West Main Street. Fast Auto Glass services windshield replacements and repairs for commercial and residential vehicles.
This is Coyote News.
This presidential campaign has been one of the more heated elections in recent years.
On this week's Out and About, we asked students which non-politician they would want to see run for the White House.
Ellen, because she's a good person.
I think I'd probably have to go with Mark Cuban, because I think he's a really good entrepreneur, maybe have good ideas for the country.
I have no clue.
James Franco.
Let's go with Bill Belichick.
All right, and why?
He just seems like a nice silent leader.
Oprah. Steph Curry.
It's kind of a tough one.
I'd have to choose Paris Hilton. And why? Because she's awesome. Who wouldn't like her? She likes color pink. She'd probably make the White House the pink house. That'd be pretty cool.
Stephen Curry, because, you know, if you can shoot a half-court shot, you can save the economy in America as well.
I would probably choose Dylan Fox.
Obviously Beyonce, because she's already like a fierce woman and a great leader.
Clint Dempsey, because he's an American hero.
Jeff Gordon, probably.
Why?
He's just a winner. Bugs Bunny.
Oh, okay. And why?
Because he likes carrots. Yeah, so carrots are life.
All right.
Coyote fans have been on full display through the women's basketball team's run through the WNIT.
On this week's Coyote Short, we see all the hard work it takes to being a Coyote superfan.
Coyotes women's basketball team is amazing, don't get me wrong, but you know, I really don't think that they could have done it if I wasn't there almost every step of the way. Every morning when I wake up, of course, I naturally have to collect my belongings. I have to go find my hat, and for some reason, it always seems to be in a different place. I wake up, I make myself a nutritious protein shake, two baby carrots, and then I do a very heavy lifting session. I have to prepare my vocal cords for the upcoming game. In order to do this, I have a session scheduled every morning with Kevin Wagner in order to harmonize so that we may be in tune with each other. It prepares my body and gives me the endurance that I need to be able to yell and scream and point fingers at the other team's coach and players until they notice me. At that point, I know that I am psychologically superior to them. I am not the super fan that USD needs. I'm the one that USD deserves.
That's all for Coyote News. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And if you have any stories you'd like to see on Coyote News, email them to kyotnews@coyotes.usd.edu.
And as we leave you, we'll show you a live look inside our studio on Facebook Live. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.